Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool. And this is the Milwaukee Fastback utility knife with a bit driver. It's actually a pretty cool little knife, and this number is 48221505. Now, Milwaukee has basically like thrown spaghetti at the wall as far as all the different knives and different variations of the knives. And I think they may be learning something in terms of what actually works best. So here are a few of the differences. Obviously, you can get replaceable blades or non-replaceable blades. This is more like a traditional pocket knife, whereas this is more like a traditional utility knife. For deployments, well, you can get ones that, and this is my favorite, that actually have a release button for both deploying the blade and stowing the blade. Others, they have a release button for opening the knife, but then they switch to a liner lock on the inside for closing the knife. This one here, there's no button, but it uses an auto assist and a little bit more tactical looking blade, even though the handle stays the same. They use a black coating. They've got serrations on the Tonto blade versus the kind of safety looking drop point. There are variations like on these two. You can see similar, but they're modifying the blade shape a little bit. It looks like they ran stainless steel liners on this versus what might not be stainless painted steel here. A little bit different. They are paying attention, trying different aspects. Both these belt clips, they are different, and they are reversible. When it comes to, oh, and the hawkbill, I'm glad that they went down that road. This is as far as I can tell, a non-replaceable hawkbill. Klein, on the other hand, does have a replaceable hawkbill blade, if you're into hawkbills. But a couple of features of this thing. It's a pretty good knife, pretty well thought out. I did get the one that has the utility blade, so I'm looking at it almost as a disposable knife in the future. The bit driver, let's start there. Basically uses a liner lock to hold it in the 180-degree position, so it shouldn't accidentally close on you. And then it has a detent for the 90-degree position, and then it stows with the detent as well. It's using a clip mechanism to hold this double-sided bit that comes with it. If you put in something, say one of these speed bits, it does fit in there and it does stay, but there's a lot of play. You can also then, of course, put a bit holder in it if you want to extend the length, etc. And of course, you can use standard single-sided bits in there just fine, and those hold in fairly well. If you want to use the double-sided, like these Weehaws here, they fit in there and they do stay. So, depending on which bit you're using, you know, the performance can vary a little bit. But, you know, it's in there enough to hold on. So you can supplement your knife with, you know, a set of these double-sided bits and have quite a bit going on here. Now, a really cool feature of this bit driver is that, with the slotted, it's hard to get back in. It's kind of interesting. There we go. Got it. This is in line here. So if you see that, that's important because when you're using, you know, a non-screwdriver, you know, a screwdriver that's built into something else, you often want to be able to hold it and just screw straight with your hand aligned with the axis of the object you're turning here. A lot of times you get things like this Leatherman. This is the Sidekick here. The Sidekick is it's a great tool, but off to the side is the screwdriver, so it takes a little bit more dexterity because your pivot point is decidedly on one side of the knife, so you're actually rotating the knife around a point rather than around the center, or an offset point. Here's a Leatherman Skeletool CX. Now this almost looks like it might be aligned, but in reality, when you're using this thing, it absolutely isn't. You know, it's kind of hard to keep this mechanism going, but sometimes it's easier, you know, when you're using using it more as a T-handle. So it's well thought out that they kept that right up through the center, because then it makes it very easy to screw it in just like you would with a screwdriver, regular screwdriver. A couple other bits, if I use, say, one of these vessels with the impact ball, those do fit in there. They stay in there, lots of play. So that's another option if you want to supplement your bit kit there. Let's take a look at the knife. Oh, this does have that liner lock there. There are 2 liner locks on this knife, and not for this blade. If we take a look at the blade, it's standard double-sided utility. It uses a shroud or a hood over the button to, hopefully not have any unintended release. You can slide this in easily till it locks. You have a wire cutter, cord cutter down there. The deployment is pretty smooth, both directions, open and close. And there is onboard bit storage. So right in here, you can barely see it. There is another little liner lock. This thing moves here. So if you take another blade, it's possible, holding this over just a little bit, to slide a blade down inside here into this little spot. And there we are. There's a blade in there now. And it is held by this little liner lock mechanism. So I would just pull that to the side, get a little grip on the blade, and start to slide it up, and I can deploy a second blade. There's another little feature here. If you look at this gap, let me grab a tape measure. All right, so this is a gap that's designed to hold the edge of a tape. Now these little nubs that stick up are probably too small. They're not going to hang on very well. I do have one in there, but barely fits. If you get one of the other tapes that has very pronounced wings on it, those do slide in here. In fact, the magnetics helps. But if I hold this in that spot, I can actually do some cutting straight down according to whatever my measurement is, say sliding drywall, cardboard, scoring wood, whatever. So this actually, is another little feature. Anything else with this? I don't know. Price is pretty good. Around 20 bucks plus or minus. Simple design and a great kind of minimalist utility knife with bit storage and, with bit driving and blade storage. And there it is. With that, Doc out.